May 19th. Please join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay.
First item, not yet. First item on our agenda is a proclamation for Public Works Week. You want to read it, share it with us?
Yeah, happy to. There's a proclamation here that we're always thrilled to announce and give to our Department of Public Works. So this is a proclamation from the Town of Burlington Select Board. Whereas public works services provided in our community are an integral part of our citizens' everyday lives, and whereas the support of an understanding and informed citizenry is vital to this efficient operation of public works systems and programs, such as water, sewer, streets and highways, buildings, cemeteries, and solid waste collection. And whereas the health, safety, and comfort of this community greatly depends on these facilities and services. And whereas the quality and effectiveness of these facilities, as well as their planning, design, and construction is vitally dependent upon upon the efforts and skill of public works employees. And whereas the efficiency of the qualified and dedicated personnel who staff public works departments is materially influenced by the people's attitude and understanding of the importance of the work they perform. Now, therefore, we as the Select Board of the Town of Burlington do hereby proclaim the week of May 18th through 24th, 2025 as National Public Works Week in the Town of Burlington. And we call upon all citizens and civic organizations to acquaint themselves with the issues involved in providing our public works and to recognize the contributions which public works employees make every day to our health, safety, comfort, and quality of life. Given under our hand this day, May 19th, 2025.
Here.
We will wait until Mr. Tickis has the opportunity to sign this before I can hand it over to you, sir. But Brian, I guess if you don't mind, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to, as I say every year, right, this town is incredibly thankful for the staff and you, led by you, right, and the team that we have for everything that you do for our community, right? I mean, and I can say that about almost any department. I mean, truly. We are blessed that the response time, the attention to detail, the education, understanding, awareness, and ability to execute on things is all just top shelf. I mean, truly. I think it was like a year and a half ago, a water main broke out in front of my house. And within an hour, the crew was there digging it up, working to get it taken care of, right? I mean, it's that level of attention to detail that makes Burlington great, and we are lucky to have you and lucky to have our DPW staff. So truly, thank you very much.
Thank you. Sarah?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Brian, and the whole team over at DPW. I'll just echo pretty much everything that Nick said, but I don't think people realize the amount of coordination and dedication it takes to do your job and for every employee in the DPW to keep the town's facilities and infrastructure functioning. I think people are sometimes quick to criticize when they see something wrong or, some sort of mistake or whatever is wrong in town, but they don't realize the amount of work and effort that they don't see happening behind the scenes to keep everything afloat. So I really appreciate you and the whole team over at DPW. You all are basically the backbone of our town. So you're what keep us running and keep everyone safe and healthy. And I really appreciate you and the department. That's all.
Thank you. Joe?
Thank you, sir. Mr. Chairman. Excuse me. Brian, all I can do is echo what they say. I think you know how I feel about everything you've done for this town. The biggest thing for me is the fact that we've had Shamal, John Sanchez, and you, and we've never missed a beat. We've always had the next best in line to come up and take over, and you're doing an incredible job with that whole department, which reflects down. It's just like our chief sitting there. It all reflects from the top down. You hire the right people, and the right people will hire who they need to. So like they both said, you're doing a great job with the town, and these guys are all doing great work for you. So just thank you for everything.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Brian. Like many of our town departments, you guys are the unsung heroes of the town, and many of the things that you do for our town, they go unnoticed or underappreciated or taken for granted. And I know I did before I became involved in town government. And all the things that make Burlington go, you guys are usually behind it. And you're there late nights, you're there 24/7, 365, whenever you need to be. And it's greatly appreciated, and you're the backbone, the engine, what makes Burlington go and keeps everything together, along with many other town departments. And we are very thankful for all of your efforts. Excited to see 2B completed this year, finally, and get that MWRA connection all set, which has been a long time coming, and there's many exciting things coming forward. So thank you for all you do, and thank you to the team. I know you always say it's not just you, it's a whole team effort, and you are all greatly appreciated, all of your efforts. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you. Yeah, I just want to echo that for my staff, because I more sit behind a desk these days and don't feel like I do the actual work, and they're there at all hours of the night, away from their families. So really, it all goes back to them. And I just want to thank the board for all your support over the years. You've been very supportive, from DPW facilities and everything. So thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
Do you want to add anything for DPW Appreciation Week, Jim?
Sure. Brian, like I've said before, in years past, people don't realize, the residents don't realize the value of the DPW and its employees, because just like they are part of public safety, they maintain our roads, our pipes, down trees, and so much more. They're available 24/7, 365. In the middle of the winter, it could be Christmas Day, they're out there plowing the streets, but they often go unnoticed, and they're the unsung heroes, the entire department, all your departments within DPW. So please send along our appreciation for all they do for the residents.
Thank you,
Hopefully
Jim.
will do.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
All right, moving on. We have police station approval.
Pass that over, I can get that, Brian.
Oh,
The day has to be public.
Brian, hang tight, we can give you this now. Have you signed it?
Police station, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm sure a couple folks were there at the planning board meeting when we kicked off the project with the planning board last week, and I know others had a chance to watch it. And basically what we were doing tonight, you guys have been up to speed on all the different iterations of the design and the design improvements that were made that sort of dictated what the outside of the building was going to look like. And we had an opportunity to get some feedback from lots of different stakeholders, and last week was to get some additional feedback from the planning board on what they thought the building design should look like, and sort of initial feelings about the site. And we'll be going back to the planning board on June 5th to kick off the official public hearing on the site plan review, and that could potentially take more than one meeting, and that they'll also have to vote on approving the final design that it meets the requirements of the town center overlay. So we had an opportunity to share the different designs, and I think the feedback was what this board had, what this board was feeling, that the option that has the brick on the bump outs and also wrap, hang on one second, let me just. So at planning board, we shared existing conditions of the site. We shared a little bit of what the proposed site was going to look like, so they could see what the spots. We shared the 4 different designs that we've kind of shared with you all, and I think consensus was that this was sort of the route we wanted to go, and the reason I put it on the agenda tonight was to get some feedback from this group. We really need to kind of give the architects a little bit of this is the direction we think we're going to go in with the basic design, sooner rather than later. You can see that we were able to share all the different perspectives as you walk around the building. and receive feedback of a lot of things. Details on fencing, details on roof lines, details on the outbuilding, where we potentially have a different solution to go with for this outbuilding. You can see at the top of the screen there that we're working on now, and we'll hopefully be able to, by the end of the week, have a different option to look at for that. I'm trying to skip through to the chief here to add anything that I missed too. Sorry. So we didn't have a lot of discussion at the planning board about it, but we were able to get the tree plans. So this, you can't really see it right there, but on the ones that I shared in the drive, you should be able to zoom in and see it. And it identifies the actual trees that are coming out. On this plan, no surprise that this strip of trees here, if you can see my cursor, those are all going to have to come out. Those are the strip of trees that are at that chain link fence that separates the existing sculpture park with the existing station. That's right where the building and parking lot will be, so those trees are all going to come out. But what we were happy with was along the property line of the nearest abutters, less trees have to come out. So that's a good thing. And then the next slide was sort of an idea of the plantings that will go in. So you can see the red and blue dots there are new trees that will go in. And you all have this in that shared drive. So like I said, I think tonight what the chief and I were kind of hoping to do was get sort of this group to say, yes, that's the design we want to go with, that brick design, which has the brick wrapping around, that's called the water table? I think that's what it's called. Still working on my architectural terms. And I think that this group had already given the feedback that that's what they like the best anyway. So sort of just formalizing that to move forward with that. There's, we don't have a finished design yet. There's still other things we're tweaking. We were able to get a bunch of feedback from lots of folks, including all of you, of some other design features that could be worked in, but sort of giving them the idea that this is the basic design that we're going forward with would be a good thing for us. Tom, do you think anything else I'm missing? And I know Nick and Sarah were both there, and you guys had a chance to watch it, so feel free to comment on anything else.
I thought it was called Brick Design 2.
It's called Brick Option 2, yeah.
Okay,
That's
the
name.
one, right?
We call it the wraparound.
Okay, it's got a lot of names. Anyone have any comments or questions?
I'm going to wait. I got a couple of questions, but I'll wait.
I can go first.
Yes, please.
I can crack it open. Look, I think that the meeting last Thursday was good to hear planning board's initial reactions to things. I think it was good to have everyone in the room, right? I know Chief was there, Deputy Chief was there, Lisa Mead was there, John was there, to be a part of the discussion, right, from our side, and along with the architects and the project team, to be able to answer questions as planning board had kind of initially reacted to everything. I think, like, first and foremost, and we've checked this box and we've asked Chief a couple times, does the building meet your needs from an inside perspective, right? And the answer's been yes, right? He's been working with the team to make sure that the station has everything it needs for today and to grow forward, right? Which is probably the most important piece of this project, right? Is making sure that our police department can continue to grow and be the fantastic police department that has become over time. So check, awesome. I think that, when we look at, from an exterior perspective, the function of the building, right? This building is uniquely placed that, we've talked about it, again, several times. It functions as a transitional building as we move from the, you call it stark, larger white architecture of 61 Center down to Grandview, right, with the traditional, more colonial look that it has, to this building, and then into the, call it the more core, town campus, where we've got the kind of brick colonial combo running through the town common area, right? And so I think utilizing the brick is a really key piece to the overall architectural design. I know when we first started looking at the overall designs, I had not a negative reaction to the brick, but I think that like my brain was trying to reconcile the red on the building, right? But something was said to me last week that really stuck with me, which is the architectural team said, well, we're going to obviously have to match the brick to the brick in the area, right? Like you want to find brick to put in this structure that's going to tie, it's not going to just be like brand new 2025 brick that was just kilned last week, right? Like they're gonna find brick that has the right look to it, which I think for me and for my brain kind of helped piece together like what this is going to look like. I think that wraparound, whatever you want to call it, brick option 2, water table, whatever, I think that ties the brick together, across the entire design of the building. I absolutely support it. I think it's going to look great. And then I know John and I have kind of like, back and forth a little bit since the planning board meeting about what I'll call architectural accents, right? Things that we can do to make the building a little bit more unique, a little bit more Burlington, a little more pop. I hate using words like pop, but I'm going to. That will just give it a little bit more uniqueness, right? And make it feel like its own kind of thing. And I think that with those elements kind of incorporated, this is the perfect baseline for what we're looking for. It's checking a lot of boxes, doing the right thing. And so, that would be my individual recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think the term you used was a transitional building.
Yeah.
So, having worked in an all-brick police station, and then an all-clapboard police station, that transitional effect, I support it. As long as the chief's on board with it, I'm on board with it, because it does meld the two areas of the town center, the town campus, as we call it. And I'm sure there's different costs with the brick as opposed to without the brick, whatnot. But we also have to make a choice, this board, I think we should make a choice that we think will also help get the building through the approval process with the least amount of resistance. So listening to other people, the police station committee, email on the transitional style seems to be the best. I got a couple of emails supporting that. So I think by supporting that hybrid type of appearance, we'll also make sure this doesn't slow down throughout the transition, the approval process. So I'll support that as well.
Sarah?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll pretty much say the same that my fellow board members said. I support brick option 2. I feel like there's been many iterations to get to this point, and it's a good transition building, bringing in all the characteristics of the other buildings around it and meeting the design parameters of the overlay as well. So the overlay was put in place because this is an area of town that is important to people, and the way buildings look matters to people, and people have very strong opinions. So they were, the overlay design parameters were put in place so that we could have sort of this campus feel, so that all the buildings fit together. And I think this works. I did think that the feedback from planning board was helpful, and really got my brain going after that meeting, and I think the team responded as well with so a lot of good ideas moving forward. Like Nick said, even if they're just small little architectural additions to the molding, making the trim wider, just little details that can elevate the look of the building, I think will help get this through and help put people's minds at ease that we're going to get a beautiful building. I had some opinions, and as long as it's okay that we're saying, okay, this is the option we like, that doesn't mean that it has to look exactly like that. We can make tweaks and design changes along the way. Is that right?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, that's
Okay.
the plan.
All right, so that I just didn't want to have to say, yes, you have to build that one, and that's the one we agreed in, and that I don't want it to be like that. I do want it to be sort of a partnership with planning board and get feedback on it. But I think, we've gotten a lot of feedback from the community leading up to this through the building committee, and now we've come up with this option, which I think is good, a good place to be right now. And hopefully with a few tweaks, it will go through planning board and we can get started. But overall, I support brick option 2.
Thank you, Sarah. Joe?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a question. So, watching the planning board meeting the other night, there was some talk about funding, about the brick. Do we have the funding to do it? I mean, there was questions whether or not we had the funding to do that. So that was one thing about the bricks that I didn't understand. I love option 2. The second question I have is like, so we have all these options up there, and option 2 is the one we seem to all like, and I agree with the planning board, there's some great things that came out of it. Who has the final say of what it looks like? Is it the planning board, the select board, town meeting? I don't know that, like, that side of it, because,
So the select board is the owner of the building
okay,
and will submit the final design, but the design has to meet the guidelines or the regulations of the town center overlay.
Right.
So there's certain building materials that can and can't be used, there's certain roof lines, things like that, that are required to be in our plan is for the design that's submitted to meet all of those requirements.
so the requirements and specifications for the town center overlay, which I heard the other night too. So I was just a little confused on that, because I'm like, wait a minute, I thought it was this board that had the final say, but, and then I'm listening and I'm thinking like, well, wait a minute. I mean, to me, option 2 seems to be the best. I love the brickwork, but I heard like the cost might not be there for it. The inside of the building, the chief had made a comment the other night about the inside is what he's really concerned with, naturally the outside too, because he's been a town resident here for his whole life. He's lived here his whole life, his kids go to school here, so he's part of the community. Like a lot of the other officers, they're also part of the community too, and they all have a vested interest in this. I believe that we all have a vested interest in this. So my theory is that option 2 is the way to go right now, and like I said, I just had some questions that I was very confused about. So I got them answered. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, Joe. And yeah, I agree, concur with what everyone said. I seem to like the brick option 2 as kind of a baseline to move forward. Chief, did you have anything you wanted to add while you were here, or anything that we're missing that we're touching?
No, I think everything has been hit upon. I actually like option 2 with the brick as well. I think just to give credit to the design team, from the very beginning when we started the program, a lot of the reasons why I think maybe they didn't capture some of the design features that some community members have asked for, and it came up at the planning board meeting the other day, was because we're on a limited parcel. So in order to get the program in there within that overlay, we had to kind of hinge the building, so you'll see the way that sits on the envelope. And I think that might have been the reasons why the design came out the way it did. But I'm very happy with the inside of the program and the program as a whole. So I thank you for allowing me the input.
Great, and like you said at the planning board meeting, I think I'm most concerned about what's going on the inside. And you guys have everything you need to move forward and do your jobs as best as possible. And
Very much satisfied with the inside, yes.
that's, the most important part to me.
Mike, if I could just add that, I think the process, getting the feedback from a large group of stakeholders is important. It shouldn't be one person designing the building, or no offense, it shouldn't be 5 people designing the building or 7 people on the planning board. It should be input from everybody. However, when you do that, you're going to get different opinions. So no matter what we build, there's going to be someone that wanted it to look different. But it is good to hear from everybody and try to work in wherever you can any of those improvements.
Absolutely. All right, with that said, I'll take a motion.
I don't know, John, if there's a certain way you want us to word this, but I would say that I make a motion that we support brick option 2, the water table option, the brick wrap option, whichever you'd like to call it, as the baseline model for moving the police station building project forward.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstain? It's 5-0.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Moving on.
Chief.
Thanks, Chief. Thank you. Moving on to our last item, Government Review Committee. I guess we have a list of people that we're going to put together the committee to move forward with.
Yeah, John, do you want me to take this?
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So we had put out an advertisement, what feels like forever ago. I think it was the beginning of March. It may have even been late February. I forget, if I'm being honest. But we intentionally kept it open until now. Here we are, middle to the end of May. with the explicit, intent that we were going to leave it open and give the community an opportunity to catch wind of it. And I mean that, or what I mean by saying that is that the goal was to continually advertise it over the course of several months rather than just several weeks to try and get a larger pool of residents involved. I am happy to report that we got 14 people, some of whom do not currently serve on any board, committee, or even town meeting, which is fantastic. So I think that in terms of like letting it sit, giving it time, and giving it voice, it served that purpose. We have a list of the 14 people. I've gone through it. Before obviously I want discussion, but before I make any recommendations, what I'd like to say is that I think that for this to succeed, I think two things need to happen, and this is what I'm looking for support on beyond the appointment of some people. One is that as a board, we participate, but don't get overly involved. I think that for this to succeed, we have to give this the space so that when the report is final and recommendations come to us and then eventually go before a town meeting, we can say that an independent body did this. So I don't think that there should be any select board members on this committee. I think that we should participate in the discussion, and that, whenever these meetings go up, they should be a joint meeting between this committee and the select board. So if more than two of us show up, we're not in OML violation. So that's point one. And then point two is, given the fact that this can run anywhere between 12 and 18 months in terms of committee length, I think that I'm going to make a recommendation that we also appoint 2 alternates from the list of the 14 that were provided to us. And that way, should someone have to step back, we have somebody who's already been following along and is engaged and can step into the process versus losing out. So before we go into the list or anything else, I'll stop there.
So the alternates, they're going to be non-voting to start.
Correct.
Okay, we had 14 applicants. I do want to add, I want to thank everyone who threw their hat into the ring. Very much appreciated, and we know how hard it is to get people to volunteer for stuff. So everyone that did put their name forward, we do appreciate it, and I wanted to say thank you to everyone who's mentioned or offered interest. Any points of discussion on 2 alternates?
Just a quick question on the alternates. So the alternates will be voting if someone's not there, right? Correct? At the end of it all, or how?
No.
There's different ways to put in the alternates, and I want to make sure we do it the right way.
So the way I envision this is that an alternate only steps in to vote when somebody is removed from the committee. They don't assume a role should someone be absent from a meeting, right? So let's say, person 1 misses meeting 2. Alternate 1 doesn't step into that role to vote for them. If person 1 has to step away from their seat entirely, we would place alternate into said seat.
Okay. And how do they catch up if they've missed, if they're an alternate and they don't go to the first 5 meetings, right? Because they're an alternate. If they don't go to the first 5 meetings, where does that put them?
So my ask is that, my ask and hopefully the ask of the board is that alternates attend all the meetings.
Okay, that's what I was trying to get at.
Yeah.
I know where I wanted to go, but I wanted someone else to say it.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, I'm done.
Those are good questions, and good clarifying points, because I wouldn't have known that either.
All right, so we want
So,
2 alternates, and do we have a number on how many people we want to put on this? Or were you going to say?
9,
Including the alternates, or?
not including the alternates. There'll be 9 members total.
Okay. 9 plus 2 alternates.
Correct.
Is everyone comfortable with that size of the committee?
Absolutely.
That's what we originally envisioned
Yep.
anyway. But I do have one quick question. Sure. Maybe for John. So to Nick's point about us being, so in the back seat, so to speak, be involved but not part of the committee, is there a way to post all of the government review committee meetings to include the select board
Yeah, I think we're
as a
going to do that.
public meeting, so that we don't run into potential violations if 3 of us show up at their meeting?
Yeah, I think that's probably how we would do it, especially if we knew that people were going to attend regularly. And then when that committee was interviewing other boards, we would also post it as a meeting of their board, so they could all go. So for instance, when that committee is interviewing the Board of Health, we would post it as a Board of Health meeting too, so that all of their members could come and participate.
All right. And then, just a point of discussion, trimming it down to the 9+2. I'm not sure how we're going to do that. I do like the fact that we have so many people that aren't currently involved in town government. To me, that's the better route, to have someone who's not involved, to take a fresh perspective, an outsider's look, so to speak, as to how town government runs and should be run. So I would prefer to include the non-previously engaged persons over the people that,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
We want the outside.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right.
I know, I mean, Sarah, I know you have thoughts. The thing I want to share is that when I looked at this list of names, there were 3 kind of criteria that I was evaluating folks on. One is their town knowledge, right? I think that it's important to have some people on the committee who have a working history of where we've been, the things we've done, right? What maybe hasn't worked in the past, for reference. I think that's important. 2, what professional skills do they bring to the table, right? Do they have a background in HR? Do they have a background in team building? Do they have a background in organizational development? These are things that we absolutely wanted to, bring forward. And then 3, like, to your point, Jim, fresh eyes, right? Like, here's somebody who's lived in town for 20 years, who hasn't been on anything, who wants to get involved. Let's open the door for them and see what they can bring to the table, right? So I think striking that balance across a committee of 9 should give us, I knock on wood, a nice cross-section of the community and, intellect and ability.
Follow up, Mr. Chairman? Sure. I think originally we said no more than 2 elected or board members on this. Are we still going to be able to do that? Or keep it to 2? Or-
I
It would be
think,
impossible.
I was going to say, I don't
Yeah.
think we can stick to that plan.
No.
well, so not counting town meeting members.
Oh, okay.
I think that we do achieve that,
Okay.
right? So like, I know we kind of waffled on like the elected capacity of a town meeting member and their engagement. I think if you strike town meeting members as elected officials for the purposes of this discussion, yeah, I think we only have 2, which, again, checks a box for me, right? Because it brings more people into the fold. There are a couple town meeting members that would, if approved tonight, would be appointed to this committee. But again, it's a good cross-section of town meeting. And I think that it also, it emboldens the discussion down the line when this comes back to town meeting to say that, members of town meeting have been engaged from the beginning.
I'll just, if I can add something
Sure.
to that. I just want to reiterate for the community that, when looking at the makeup of the people who applied, we really wanted to create a balanced committee with a broad range of experiences and differing levels of involvement and engagement with local government. So in order to make sure that all voices are heard, it's not possible to have a committee of all fresh voices or all senior, tenured voices, but it is good to have folks that have been involved and have that institutional knowledge that can be helpful, and then also bring in those who have not been that involved but are kind of sort of aware of things that are happening around town. So bringing that together and balancing the committee in that way, I think will hopefully be really helpful moving forward.
JD?
Thank you. I was just going to say that same thing, that's what the Collins Center recommended, and did admit that in a town that has representative town meeting, you probably wouldn't be able to get a committee if you didn't allow town meeting members to be on it. They're the people that volunteer to be on everything. But they did say exactly that, to have a good mix of some folks that have been around and know sort of the operations of the town and understand it, and then new folks that maybe don't. So I just want to add that.
And I guess too, Mr. Chairman, it's important to say it again. I know that I've said it to you all, but for anyone who's watching tonight specifically, the Collins Center is going to be engaged in this process the whole way through. They've worked with other communities to do this. They kind of have a general framework, a rubric, if you will. They're going to help guide this committee through. There are boxes to kind of check off as you engage in a process like this. So it's not like we're taking 9 people and it's like, good luck, right? This is absolutely something that we have third-party guidance with experience to kind of help navigate this. So I think that that should embolden the committee to take, things into their own hands, that they have that support, and also embolden us to, participate in the conversation, knowing that, they're there and that, it's not our goal to influence the discussion, but rather, be a part of it.
And can I just add one more thing? I also just want to let the community know that these meetings will be public, and anyone in town is welcome to watch, to come, to join meetings, to engage with the committee, provide their input, feedback, because, that's important too, feedback from the community. So this is a community-wide effort, and they will be looking for that feedback.
All right, so I guess we now can get into nominations or names. I know Nick and Sarah kind of spearheaded this, so if you want to,
Yeah,
one
so
of you want to take the bull by the
I'll go
horns
ahead
here.
and list the people that I'm looking to nominate, and then I'll list the alternates, and then we can pause for discussion, and then assuming that that's out, then we can kind of go from there.
Yeah, we've all seen the list, so start us off.
All right, so of the 14, we have Craig Foster, Russell Minor, Corey Everett, Bill Byer, Carl Foss, Stephen Mahoney, Jessica Sutherland, Betsy Hughes, and Nikki Cadillac. That would be our core 9. And then I would recommend that this committee appoints Jack Kelly and Myrna Saltman as the alternates.
Discussion.
I make a motion to approve. Is that for discussion?
Any discussion before we?
I'll defer to Nick as far as who should be on that board, because like we mentioned, Sarah and Nick have been on this, so I'm not gonna obstruct, I don't wanna not go with your recommendations, put it that way.
No, and I was hoping we'd get outsiders, not people who, so I think that's a good mix, and that was kind of on the line where I was going to, so.
I just wanna follow up if Sarah's okay with that, because she also worked on this.
Yes.
Okay.
What do you think, Sarah, on the list?
I think it's a good list of, a good balance and mix of, I was looking at demographics in terms of, gender and age and involvement in town and all different things, and I was trying to make it fit, and that's kind of a list that I came up with. Nick came up with his own list. We went back and forth, and this is kind of where we landed and felt like it was the most balanced committee.
Yeah, I will say, when I first got the list, I tried to make it a committee of 7 with more alternates, thinking that that would somehow be more beneficial, but it was really only kind of in my mind making things less concrete, right? To have 4 people who may or may not be attending meetings, who might need to step in, like it seemed, so I figured get people involved in the upfront, make the committee a little bit larger, and hopefully we get greater yield.
Follow-up question?
Sure.
I assume that once the 9 plus 2 are notified, they'll be choosing their own chairman and chairperson, and
Yeah, they would run it themselves.
right.
They'll be off on their own.
And I think Collins will help
all right,
them
okay.
through that.
And then as far as note-taking, a secretary, will they do their own, or will it?
As of right now, we don't have anyone assigned, so yeah, they'd be doing it themselves.
Okay. All right.
All right, there's a motion on the floor. Any other comments? Joe's made a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? That's 5-0.
Let's put the rest.
Make a motion to
Back into the
adjourn.
committee. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? 5-0.